Hello and welcome. Thank you so much for joining me on my program. I appreciate you wherever you are connecting from. If you are joining me from any part of the world, I thank you very much for your contributions on this channel. Please kindly subscribe if you have not subscribed, and also click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time I upload a video. You will be among the first to receive it. In this channel, I bring information to your doorstep. I bring news from all channels, from every angle. Things that have to do about the world, things that have to do about Africa, more especially Nigeria. I bring it to your doorstep, some information that you ignore, some information that you cannot be able to come across. I look for them, I bring it to your doorstep for you to see. Every video you see on this channel is for educational purpose.
In a strange coincidence, documents submitted by the vice presidential candidate of the ruling All Progressive Congress APC, Mr. Ibrahim Masari, to the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC, have revealed that the placeholder, like the principal, Senator Bola Tinubu, could not produce requisite certificates to back his stated academic qualifications. The Form EC9, bearing Masari's particular, revealed that he did not attach any certificate in support of his educational qualifications. Masari rather attached a sworn affidavit claiming the loss of vital documents, including his school certificates. However, Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma said the certificate debate around this party's presidential duo is of little or no importance, stressing that Tinubu's past electoral records will suffice. The choice of vice president has become a tough one for Tinubu, following the strong division in the country along religious and ethnic lines. A lot to chat about this morning, Tundu.
You know, I don't even know what movie it's from or where the saying comes from when people say, "Am I a joke to you?" This is exactly how I feel when I read about this. I mean, come on. We're now descending into farce. And this is our electoral process. This is our democracy that people fought for and died for. This is the future of this country. Is this a huge joke? I'm sorry, people lose documents. You know, it happens all the time. When you're moving house or a fire or whatever, it does happen. I'm not trying to be unsympathetic here. But when you add this to the fact that the presidential candidates' documents were also lost, it becomes sort of like, oh, let me just borrow your excuse. That's what it starts to look like. And then we also have the fact that we have a placeholder in the first case. We're not really supposed to have a placeholder in the first case if this whole process was taken with the kind of seriousness that it ought to. So that's really all I have to say about this. I think this is extremely unfortunate, extremely embarrassing to say that I also don't have a certificate. What I think the job of the placeholder or vice presidential candidate is to support the ticket, is to boost the presidential candidate's chances, not to make the whole thing even more ridiculous than it actually ordinarily is. This is really unfortunate.
Dr. Vati?
Okay, I think that the whole world must be laughing at us. And so clearly, it looks like a joke, but a very expensive one, and a very embarrassing one for us as Nigerians. That you will have in a political party the presidential standard bearer who claim that his certificates have been stolen, or that he did not even go to school, but he ended up with a degree from Chicago State University. And then his placeholder, well, INEC says running mate, because that's the name that has been submitted, until he withdraws or he resigns from that position, or, the law is properly followed in that regard within the time frame window that is available. Now, why is it very embarrassing? You had the standard bearer of the party, Bola Amed Tinubu, issue a certificate. You now have the placeholder, Mr. Masari from Katsina State, also saying he too cannot trace his certificates. He submitted an affidavit. Now, this was the same issue with the same APC in the 2019-2015 general election. Let it be said that the All Progressives Congress is projecting itself as a party of certificateless people. And the fact that this is associated with the highest office in the land makes it scandalous. In this country, for you to be a lawyer, you must be properly qualified, right? For you to be an accountant, to go about calling yourself a chartered accountant, you must take exams, you must have certificates, you must have the basic qualifications. You cannot become a doctor except you are a quack doctor, except you have been to medical school and you've gone through the rigorous process of training. Which is why it is so ironic and against scandalous that they are the biggest jobs in the land, political leadership, requires the smallest level of qualification. Most of the people, I mean, we're citing the example of top people in APC. Do you know how many other people in House of Reps, in Senate, in other positions in most of these political parties who also will come around tomorrow and say that the snakes swallowed their certificates, or that termites ate their paper, or rats went into the safe where they kept their certificates, and the rats, made away with their qualifications. Okay, whatever the story is, those stories will not make sense to most right-thinking members of our community. If your certificate disappeared, if your certificate got swallowed by a snake, if indeed you went to the school, the thing to do, you go and get a police report. After getting police report, you get an affidavit. If the school from which you claim to have graduated exists, you go there and submit, you get another certificate. It happens to people. People who need their certificates for serious jobs. Let it not be suggested that the position of the president of Nigeria is an unserious position. So, I mean, schools, institutions, they give you back your certificate. Okay, let it even be that you did not attend primary school, you did not attend secondary school, and you ended up with a qualification, as in the case of Bola Amed Tinubu. It's a very simple matter. We all know that some people go to school by correspondence courses. Many of our leading figures in Nigerian history, they never went to any formal school. Yeah. Some of them sat at home and they did. Yes, they got certificates by correspondence, and some of them used those certificates to later go to the university and get, university degrees. Now, in the US and Canada, there are something they call GED, General Education Development. Now, with GED, you may not have gone to school. These are structures they put in place. Then you go enroll, you take 4 subjects, and then you can be certified after passing those 4 subjects as someone who has the requisite educational skills to go beyond secondary school. And you can use that to seek further admission. Now, it's nothing to be ashamed about. We're not all equally circumstanced in life. Some people, by circumstances of birth, it's not every parent that can send their children to Ivy League schools, right? And it's not everybody that will be as brilliant as a present company. So some people, get to the top the way of the tortoise, one step at a time. They attempt and fail, trial and error. But even if it's the GED you have, bring it. Because you can't end up in the university without having any qualification at all. I don't imagine that they just go and pick people on the streets and say, come and take a degree. There must be some qualifications, which must be disclosed. So these are the issues here, and I think that, look, it's very embarrassing. In a country of over 200 million people, for crying out loud, Nigeria has the largest number of immigrants with PhDs in the United States. And the people who stay in the US, they will hear that to become president of Nigeria, people are giving excuses. Come on, school start. Mm-hmm. And as you have seen previously, I hope WAEC is not standing by to come and produce attestation and say, we think this person has qualifications for this thing. No, we don't want to hear about attestation. We want to see proper document. Finally, Hope Uzodinma, the governor of Imo State, he has turned around in one report to blame INEC. He says INEC is the problem. How is INEC the problem? If you hear the kind of asinine, explanation that he has offered, he says if INEC had a functional server, then these persons who have held positions before, they will have no need to submit any certificate. The INEC should have records of Bola Amed Tinubu's qualifications in his server. I mean, a whole governor, a former senator, what the hell is going on here? I sympathize with the people of Imo State. Let me end it on that note.
Hey. What all of this reminds me of is a 2003 comedy movie or film, anyone you want, starring Osita Iheme and Chinedu Ikezieze. Chinedu is a very good friend of mine and a huge fan of this show, called Aki na Ukwa, the story and the adventures of Aki and Popo. That's what politics in this country have become. And it's very sad. In fact, words fail me. For the very first time, I don't have words to enunciate my thought process. Words fail me for the very first time in a long time. You know, I think it was Ludacris, the American rapper, that sang, "How low can you go? How low can you go? How low can you go?" And I think that's the question we're asking in Nigeria now. How low can we go as a nation? How low can we go as a nation with this Aki and Popo-esque kind of joke? People come into our face and tell us all sorts of pantomime, rubbish. We all know if you allege you went to a school, the schools are still there. Let's write the school and they should reproduce the certificate as claimed before. GCI Ibadan is still there. Let's write GCI Ibadan, write them to give you. Because you stated that in 1999. Write the other St. Paul School or a lawyer. For the man that said he doesn't even have anything at all, we should press him further. This country is we're in so much problem, and it's so serious the case that we can't afford to leave it to, forgive me again, Aki and Popo to run our country. We're talking about insecurity, we're talking about banditry. Now the new law is some people don't even have primary school, secondary school certificates. They didn't even bother to produce it. And now some governor somewhere is telling us that it's INEC's fault.
Extraordinary.
Did INEC attend school with the people that didn't produce certificates? Because I don't know what is happening in this country. It is our dakereke. I'm like, I don't even know. I'm sure this will even make Baba Salah laugh. And yet you have serious problems in Nigeria. And people can't produce their certificates and we're defending. It's not a big deal.
Do you know that since this report, some people have been calling me that, am I interested in the presidency of Nigeria? I said, no, the time frame for the process has passed. But one thing you can be sure of is that I have certificates.
Oh, yes.
I don't have to look for my certificates.
You have certificates.
Several certificates. Thank you very much.
And people that went to school with you are here. We know them. Just like people that went to school with all of us, they know us. We have people, we can't even see one person that went to school with them come out.
No, but I like the point your friends are making, because if those of you who know where your certificates are didn't throw their hats in the ring, then this is what we're left with.
Moving on to the next story. The immediate past Chief Justice of Nigeria, Ibrahim Mohammed, is expected to get a severance package of 2.5 billion from the federal government. Mohammed's resignation on health grounds was announced on Monday, less than a week after 14 Supreme Court justices accused him of financial malfeasance and maladministration. Meanwhile, the Senate has resolved to investigate the crisis in the Supreme Court despite the resignation of Justice Tanko Mohammed. The resolution followed a motion by Chairman of the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, Senator Kweyemi Bamidele.
It is very, very, very embarrassing. We don't hear of these complaints in the executive arm. People being told to, in the executive to close offices at 4 p.m. and go home. Not even here in the National Assembly. To be told at 4 p.m. there will be no light, you should go home. When you have work to do. Mr. President, if this cannot happen in the executive arm, it cannot happen here in the National Assembly, why should it happen in the judiciary?
The Senate observes that the sacred image of the judiciary, which is the epicenter of the temple of justice, should be preserved by the Senate through appropriate legislative measures in order to safeguard this highly revered institution and prevent it from being ridiculed. Accordingly, the President of the Senate directed the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to get involved in the matter with a view to unraveling the root cause of the recent development in the judiciary and how best the Senate can intervene in order to address the concerns raised by the justices.
The public should understand that we in the Senate or in the National Assembly generally are aware of where the boundaries lies. And I believe our concern at all times has been that the judiciary, as one of the arms of government, deserves all the support they need because they remain the last hope as far as the issue of rule of law is concerned.
Mandate the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters to go ahead with its assignment in the quest to find a lasting solution to the matter by interacting with relevant stakeholders to look into the complaints raised in the petition by the justices of the Supreme Court. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay.
All right, a lot to talk about real quickly this morning, Tundu.
Yes, it's really important that this probe happens. That letter, like we talked about yesterday, was just really groundbreaking, that leaked memo, because Supreme Court justices are not known for washing their dirty laundry in public, ever. So for them to be constrained to do that, it just shows that it's actually an emergency. Their welfare, their terrible working conditions that they described there. And that's the Supreme Court. Now, when you now imagine the trickle-down effect of that all the way to the magistrate courts, you can imagine the kind of administration of justice that we have here. So it's extremely important. But my worry is, we've had probes before, haven't we? And what happened? That's really my issue. What exactly is going to change, especially when you hear that the newly retired CJN, who was blamed for a lot of the maladministration in that leaked memo, is going to get his severance package. Why should he really, if there's going to be an investigation? Surely he should be investigated. If he needs to be penalized in any way, sanctioned in any way, then that should happen. Not that you're accused of this kind of appalling mismanagement and you still get like some kind of severance package from the country. It does not make any sense, especially when what has been discussed here is even things like diesel being denied to his colleagues. It doesn't look tidy to me, and it doesn't look like this probe is going to go any different from how the myriad other probes that we've had.
Yeah, the Nigerian probe.
Well, the Senate is definitely acting in public interest because Senate is involved, the National Assembly, in the appropriation process. And the questions that have been raised include, how budgeted funds for the Supreme Court have been spent. And why is it that those who are supposed to be part beneficiaries of statutory provisions have been denied? So the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is in a good position to raise questions. I think one of the senators made the point that, look, we made provisions. There should be no reason why there should be complaints about lack of diesel, non-payment for internet services. And the way the budget is made, there are line-by-line items in the breakdown which can be probed, investigated. However, would the Senate or any other body be able to make any progress with this? Some NGOs have even gone further to call for the arrest of the former CJN. Well, would that happen? Some have even said that, look, this should not be the end of it, and that the first task of Justice Olukayode Ariwola, in that chair, on that bench, should be, to put some kind of closure to the same allegations that he and his colleagues, brother justices, had raised against the now former CJN. Will he do that? Especially now that some people are already even raising questions that, there are also issues about Justice Ariwola within the period when he will get his confirmation. Is he likely to do anything to try to rock the boat? What has happened, clearly, is that one, the former CJN, yes, severance package, that's the normal routine of it. And I'm sure the severance package for former Chief Justices of Nigeria, if you check, is quite handsome. Apart from that surveillance package, he has also, after a fashion, received the commendation of the President of Nigeria, who praised him of having made modest contributions to the development of the law and the development of the country. And the President specifically that history will be kind to Justice Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad. So he already received the equivalent of a presidential commendation, and attached to that is the second highest honor in the country, that of the GCON, right?
Yes.
And after that, he is automatically now a member of the Council of State, which draws his membership from former heads of state and presidents, and also former chief justices of the Supreme Court. Okay? So, and if you look at the reaction to his exit, I mean, I've seen some comments online saying, look, he's still in a position to contribute a lot to Nigeria, and that nobody should accuse him of anything. So there is an attempt to politicize his exit, to ethnicize his exit. But behind that, some people are also raising questions. Okay, how should the Justice Kanu Onogen, how should we be feeling now? He was even not only convicted for misdeeds, for misconduct, he was banned from occupying any public office for, is it 10 or 11 years? So one country, different standards. But the residual point that everyone can hold on to is that the judiciary is so important that the judiciary should not be allowed to descend into the arena. The judiciary should not be overtaken by the Nigerian factor. Some will say it has been overtaken by the Nigerian factor already. And then when that happens, then where is hope for that proverbial common man and for the rest of society? So the partisanship that has developed around this, I think will even be a more compelling reason why nothing may happen. And this will just go away as part of the line of business. But going forward, there must be special focus in the area of reforms, of not just the judiciary entirely, but also of the National Judicial Council and the administration, the management at various levels within the judicial cadre.
Nigeria is fast becoming a very funny place to live in. It's quite sad. We can't say a lot, but we have to go. That's all on News Alive. We'll take a short break.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. For Global Business Update, Michael Wilson joins us from London. Good morning, Mr. Wilson.
Morning. That bounce back didn't really happen on Wall Street yesterday. In fact, quite the reverse. I'll come on to the detail of that. But really, the overhang of that and the hangover of that, if I can put it like that, has certainly hit the Asian markets this morning. Hang Seng down about 1.5%. South Korea also down. And as far as Chinese mainland stocks are concerned, not doing particularly well here. Retail sales in Japan rose 3.6%. A bit of consumer demand is no bad thing in sclerotic economies like Japan and so on, going through its own problems at the moment. As far as China concerned, new information out. This is a beige book. Now, what this is it's an American-based survey. They have one.